You have just tapped into the Christian Life Coach Collective, and I'm your host, Laura Malone. I'm here to equip and encourage coaches in skills, business, personal life, and faith. I believe you're already 100% worthy and capable, and you're called for such a time as this. So let's get you walking it out with courage and confidence so you can be an amazing coach who sees transformation and great results in both your life and the lives around you. Let's get started. Something I like to address with my clients is the difference between coaching and teaching, mentoring, and consulting. I always point out that on this podcast and in my blog and in my courses, I am teaching because I'm talking to a computer or a microphone. But when I'm face-to-face, whether it's over Zoom or in person, I'm coaching because there is a client or a coachee on the other side. So I'm guiding a process and holding space for them. I'm not going to tell you what to do unless you hired me to tell you what to do. And in which case, that would be consulting. Or at the very least, I would be mentoring or teaching. But in life coaching, I know that your discovery and decisions create the most supportive and sustainable future for you. But I also know that there are things I've experienced in my life and in my business that some of my clients haven't. And that's why I teach those things on my podcast, in my blog, and along with the courses and the signature programs that help you build a coaching business. So let's talk about the difference between coaching and teaching or consulting and how they can actually work together. I see coaching is about encouragement and empowerment, not giving advice. So giving advice might seem helpful or even expected, but effective life coaching is about equipping clients to discover their own solutions, right? It's guiding them through listening and great question asking. The role of the coach isn't to act like an expert or know how to fix everything or do anything for the actual client in their life, but it's to serve as a guide that helps the client explore potential, possibilities, clarify goals, and develop their own strategies. When the clients actually do the work of thinking and arrive at their own answers, the transformation is just deeper and more meaningful. It's more sustainable. And I would say, why isn't coaching about giving advice? Because coaching is about empowering, but advice isn't empowering. Advice is directive. So when you give advice, the client might feel like a temporary support from you, but it can also create a dependency on you to be the one who has all the answers. Even worse than that, it can disconnect them from their own intuition, personal knowledge, spiritual guidance, decision-making process, right? Like true coaching actually helps the client grow their own confidence in themselves to learn how to trust their gut and the ability to navigate challenges independently, not needing you to be there to do it. So a coach might say to their client, you need to set clearer boundaries at work. You should have a direct conversation with your boss about your workload. That might be good advice, but the client might not feel ready to take action. So if they are afraid of conflict or they're conflict resistant or don't fully agree with your solution, they might not follow through on your advice. Even if they take it, it might not line up with their values or their approach. So then they might end up feeling resentful or have regret about the action they took because they're like, I did it because my coach told me to do it, but I didn't feel it. It didn't go well. I shouldn't have done it, right? But if the coach were to ask, what do you think the biggest challenge is that you're experiencing with the workload at work? Or maybe like, how would boundary setting improve your situation or your attitude at work? Those questions are open-ended and they're going to ask the client to reflect on what is right for them, what's real, what rises up. And it's going to let them process their own thoughts and find solutions that feel aligned and right to them. So they might come up with their own plan that takes their own personal fears and values into account. And that is going to be an approach that it ensures that the client actually feels the ownership and has alignment with their decisions, which makes them far more likely to take the action as opposed to if they're just doing what you told them to do. So the power of coaching lies in asking the right questions. Open-ended questions encourage exploration and insight and problem solving. And instead of kind of narrowing the focus to a single path, a powerful question will expand their thinking. So, for example, what does success look like in this situation for you? What is the underlying issue that you think you need to address? What options have you considered so far, or what have you tried so far? What would a win feel like to you? These questions, they're not just about like solving the problem. And I think a lot of coaches look at sessions with people as, oh, I've got to fix things. I'm a fixer. As a coach, you're not a fixer. I am a fixer for sure. I'm definitely a possibility-oriented person, and I love fixing things. I love coming up with solutions, and I'm sure many of you do as well. Here's the deal. As a coach, you're not a fixer. Nobody's asking you to be a fixer. Actually, let me take that back. Some clients want you to be their fixer. They actually do. I'm going to say you teach them what coaching is all about by not being their fixer and helping them learn how to trust themselves and take action and see results. If you want to fix something, create a solution to a problem that you know is out there and create content around it. And give examples. If this person were to have this problem, one way that I could help them or something they could do is this, and then offer the solution. Then the listener or the reader to your content could take that into account and say, I wonder if that would work for me, right? But you're not giving advice in a coaching session. You can create solutions and talk about problems as a content creator who actually helps people see, like, if this resonates with you, then this is one way you could handle it. So the questions are not about solving problems. They're about helping the client understand themselves better. And then as they answer, they connect with their own inner motivations, their personal values, their own experience and wisdom. So that process is actually going to build confidence and trust for them in their own ability to navigate challenges. So active listening is equally important to the question asking. And clients, a lot of times they just need space to process thoughts and emotions. And when they have a coach who's listening deeply without a judgment or an attachment or the impulse to fix something, it actually creates a really safe environment for their own exploration. And I will say that a lot of times in a consultation and maybe the first or second sessions, let's say somebody's going to work with me for 6 months. In the consultation, I get to hear a lot about what's going on. In the first, second, and maybe even third sessions, there's a lot of space being held so that the client, for the first time in most people's lives, can actually say everything they want to say, get it out, let it rise up, let it spill over, and take a deep breath. And if I were to be fixing everything, or I was to be giving advice on everything they said, and I'm clarifying this is in like a general life coaching context, then we're going to miss out on their ability to do what really constitutes a debriefing. There's a really huge desire in the human soul and body to debrief what they have experienced, what we have experienced. Oftentimes, we just don't have anybody who's really holding space just to listen to us. So if a client can hear themselves more clearly and uncover solutions they didn't realize they actually already had, your active listening will, especially if you're like reflecting back what you've heard and acknowledging their feelings and asking those great questions to go deeper, that can exponentially affect the transformation they're going to get. So in addition to the questions and the listening, you can help your clients with tools that support like a greater self-discovery. You can offer like a framework that it could be as simple as like a pros and cons list. It could be like a scale. Just draw out a scale and say, let's weigh this stuff, right? Weigh your decisions, weigh your hindrances, weigh your results. It could be that simple. Grab a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. You can create some journaling prompts that encourage reflection on their goals, their obstacles, how are they feeling as they take action, things like that. You can also give them models of, everybody's heard of the SMART goals or SMART E goals, mind mapping, anything that helps them to structure their thoughts without you imposing your advice, your teaching, or your solutions, right? So if a client is equipped with tools rather than your advice, they're going to gain skills that they can use repeatedly in their own lives. And I think that what I see is my clients who are coaches that are just starting out are very confused about when do I teach what I know and what do I do when I have a client in front of me? And I'm just telling you, start a podcast. It literally became such a launch pad for my brain so that I could divide what I wanted to talk about and teach about and create a very clear definition between that and then my life coaching clients. So I'm able to foster the independence and the resilience and empower my clients when we are actually in a coaching session, because I am able to teach and create solutions and consult and give advice in my podcast where I'm not coaching, I'm educating and encouraging. So consider how you could take that advice, the wisdom, the experience that you really do have, and actually use it as an organic marketing tool so that people can find out what you do know so that they'll want to hire you as a coach to hold space for them as you guide them while you're an active listener and a great question asker without judgment or attachment or a solution being imposed on them. I'm just saying, that did it for me. I went from teaching and consulting in my coaching sessions to knowing where everything went. And then when I dialed in even further, and I have my life coaching clients and I have my business coaching clients. I have my clients who say, I want to be a coach. I need to know how to start my business. Then what I do is consultant coaching, where I am consulting on a system that I believe I already know, I've already built, and now I understand all of the processes that need to be in place for my coaching clients, right? Like they want to start a business. And so I am consulting and I'm teaching, they're taking courses, they're a student, they get trained and certified with me, etc. But then when they say, I need a mindset session, like they need some life coaching because they have actually gotten stuck. They're not taking action, or they went so far, but now they don't believe in themselves, or they had a client and it went really badly in their own mind and they need to process and figure out where they got stuck so that they can get moving forward again. Then we're life coaching. I'm not giving them solutions there. I'm not fixing things. I'm not telling them what to do. I'm coaching, I'm holding space, and I can go between the two because that's how my business went forward. Yours might be just general life coaching, even if it's for a specific group of people or a niche. You might be just doing the life coaching piece where you need to be holding space, actively listening, and guiding them with great questions all of the time. And if that's your model, that's awesome. But I do want you to understand there is a difference between content creation, where I'm teaching, business coaching, where I'm actually being hired to give direction about how to do something, even though they're the ones that make the decisions about how to do it, that's in a way that's best for them. I never tell anybody what to do. I show a framework of what could be done, and then I help them modify and contextualize it to what is the best for them and their business and their clients. And then there's the life coaching. And coaching also involves shifting from a results-driven mindset to a process-driven one. So the goal isn't just to fix a problem for the client or for the client to fix the problem, but for them to learn and grow through the process as a human being. So as a coach, we're going to help our clients see that the journey is really as valuable, if not more so, than the destination. So that shift will help clients to explore the possibilities and embrace creativity and experiment with multiple solutions in a way that's going to lead to a lasting change for them. So my actionable takeaway for you on this one is, in your next coaching session, resist the urge to offer solutions right away, and actually maybe make a notation on a note, like a Post-it next to you. Every time you want to give a solution or advice or fix something or tell them what to do, make a little note, just like a little hash, like you're counting down the days in jail. Hash. And every time you make that hash, say, okay, the thing I do is I ask an open-ended question, and I close my mouth and I listen. So here's some starter questions, okay? Maybe you're a new coach and you're just like trying to figure out, what are my great questions? You can say things like, what do you most want to achieve right now? Or what is unclear or uncertain about your next steps to you? What strengths do you have that you can draw on in this particular situation? Or what is stopping you from moving forward? And what do you think would help you overcome that? So you're asking the questions, and then you give them time and space to process it. And when you feel temptation to jump in with advice, if they struggle to articulate their thoughts, this is one thing I'm really bad at. I'm still working on it. I can finish the line in a movie I've never seen before. I just tend to know what's coming. And then I ruin it. I ruin that part of the movie for whoever's watching it with me, because they're like, how did you know they was going to say that? I'm like, I don't know. I just know it. And sometimes it translates into my relationships or conversation with my husband or kids or my clients, where I'm like, I know what you're going to say. The other thing is that I oftentimes find that people will say that I'm able to communicate really well, because communication is my passion. And they're like, you just communicate that so well. Like, you said it in a way that I've never been able to say before. And so I'm just like, oh, that gifting can be overused, and that strength becomes a liability if I'm using it out of timing or overusing it. Or if you misuse your strength, it becomes a liability. So maybe you do think you know what they're going to say, but it doesn't mean that you do. And even if you do, it doesn't mean that it's yours to say, because it's theirs. So your silence can be really powerful. And sometimes the greatest insights come when you're actually just holding space for them to think, let things rise up, and then be able to learn how to communicate and articulate what those thoughts are. That's the deep work that we're trying to do. Coaching isn't about being the hero with all the answers. It's about helping them see they are the hero of their own story. And then when they realize their own power to create change, their confidence and capacity to lead their lives grow exponentially. That is the magic of true coaching, when you're empowering them to discover that everything they need is already within them. So this shift transforms your coaching relationship from one of dependency into one that's a partnership, where the coach is supporting the client in becoming their most empowered and authentic self. And you just need to let that guide your coaching practice while you are helping other people uncover their own path to success. And what that's going to do is help relieve you of the pressure for you to know what the path to success is for each person, because it's not your responsibility. And you don't even have permission to figure out their path to success. That's not what anybody's hiring you to do. I'll be honest, as a life coach, some of my clients don't want me to just ask questions. And I know this is some models of coaching actually teach to not talk, just ask questions. Listen, ask questions. Some of my clients don't want that. It's not really my model. And I do offer guidance and I offer options. So in my content, in my marketing, and in my consultation, I try to show up like the coach that I am in session. I'm a possibility coach. So the people who hire me expect that, and they're hoping that I will give them a drop-down menu of what could be or the different ways they could go and the different outcomes they could create. So while I'm going to hold space and I'm going to ask questions and I'm going to be an active listener, what happens when I step into this isn't as much as like teaching, mentoring, or consulting as it is, I would think of like vision casting. So if we're in session and Julie says, I just can't even imagine the possible outcomes of making this decision because I've never done anything like this. So I'm really struggling to figure out what are the right first steps or the best way forward for me because my thinking is really limited. I can respond with options like, well, I can see that if you would do X, then maybe Y would happen, but also Z is possible, especially if you add a little bit of R in there, right? So I can cast vision and then let her fill in some blanks and let her see, what's that feel like? What's that do? How does that change for you? I could say something like, if you do A, then B could turn into C, and from there you can eventually get to E, F, and G. So which one feels right to you? Do you see yourself as capable of creating these results? Do you really desire to reach the goal of X, or are you more interested in the goal of D, right? So I have something to bring into the session based on my ability to cast vision, explore possibilities, and pull on the experience and knowledge and skills that I have in life and business to offer a drop-down list. It's like if somebody says, I'm not sure how I feel, it's the equivalent of putting a feelings wheel in front of them and saying, well, here's a wheel full of emotion, words that describe emotions. To assess that and look at it and choose what feels right to you. I'm not telling them they feel angry. I'm not telling them they feel shame or fear or joy or excitement. I'm saying here's a drop-down list, right? So this could be like Julie wants to start a business but isn't sure, should I become a virtual assistant, start that business because I've done that before, I'm good at it. Or I'm also really artistic and I create these beautiful alcohol ink flowers. Should I open an Etsy shop? Well, I know about both kinds of businesses and I know enough to cast vision and possibility for her so she can understand like, oh, the kinds of results I'm going to get if I do either one of these so that she can best choose for herself. I also know enough to say, if you want this kind of result as an artist on Etsy and you want to make $150,000 a year, I'm going to help you understand what it's going to require of you, not just physical action taking, but personal growth to become the kind of person who can make $150K per year on Etsy selling alcoholic art. You're going to have to overcome a lot of mindsets that tell you that art isn't worth the price point it has to be at in order for you to make that kind of money? I can help her figure those out because I can say, here's what's going to take. Or if I don't know, let's figure it out together. But I'm going to cast vision and open the door to curiosity and possibility and research, but I'm not going to tell her what to do or what she should do. I'm not going to give her my opinion on which one is right for her. In business, however, if I'm coaching somebody who wants to start or scale their coaching business, I do know more about how to do this. So these clients, they don't hire me to just ask the question and ask them, okay, what rises up for you when I talk about, choosing an email service provider, right? These clients, they want me to ask questions that allow what I know already to rise up and help them make the wisest choice for themselves. So they're hiring me as a consultant coach because I have a signature program that's going to actually guide them as they build the processes they need in place that are going to be the business system that helps them start and scale. They don't know what to do or how to get started or how to build, but I do. And they want to learn from me and be coached versus doing what I did by taking years to figure it out on my own. And that required taking a lot of time, not making very much money in order to figure it out. So I actually consult them on a specific strategy, but all the decisions are theirs to make. So I'm not telling them what they have to do. I'm giving them a foundation on which to stand on so they can start somewhere. Then they determine what kind of flooring do they want? Do they want hardwood floor, carpet, and epoxy coating, right? I show them there are 6 processes within the business system you need in place for a successful business. Then they determine what details they will create within those processes to make it work for them, to contextualize it to who they are and what they offer. So I'm consulting on the framework of that I know and asking questions and making space for them to experiment with guidance to find the best way for them to build a dream business. When I'm consulting, mentoring, or teaching, there is advice built in. But this is because I'm showing them how to do something specific that they hired me for. With general life coaching, I walk clients through the Pearl practice, how your paradigm influences your emotion, and that influences your actions that you take, which creates results that culminate in a legacy, right? That's the Pearl practice. So what is there for them in any given situation can rise up so they can assess it, shift their paradigm, and remove the hindrances to the results they really want to create in any area of life. I'm not telling them what they feel. I'm not giving advice on what to do. I'm just holding the space, asking the questions, and guiding them into their expressed desired results, what they hired me to do. So if you have an area where you want to coach a specific group of people in, you have a niche, and you can teach them through content creation and offer to coach them with a signature offer like I'm talking about that integrates your knowledge through a bit of consulting with your guidance into the best path for them through your coaching. Either way, you're never going to require them to do something. You're just showing a path that they could take, and it's up to them what they'll do. For example, you could be a women's running mindset coach and work with women who are training for a run of some sort. Rather than talking to them about their running form, even if you know about it, they are going to hire you to help them get a winning mindset that overcome their fears and doubts and stay focused. So you could have a signature program where you teach them about certain mind-setting skills, along with homework for them to focus on certain things on a daily basis just to form a good habit. This is directive. So it's going to be more teaching, more advice, more consulting, right? But you also hold space for them to talk about what comes up for them when they run in the evening after a stressful day at work and how it impacts their running mindset. Or maybe it's the mom guilt they feel when they run in the morning ends after the kids woke up in the morning, but one of the kids woke up feeling sick and she feels guilty that she wasn't there when she woke up and started throwing up, right? So you hold the space and help her think about what she's thinking and feeling and what she would normally do because of it. then if you can ask her questions like, if you stay in this mindset, what kind of results is it going to create for the rest of the day? Do you want to shift your mindset to create the results that you actually want to create intentionally? You're going to walk her through the process of getting into an internal mindset that will create desired results regardless of the external situation. And that is her work to do, and you guide her. So in some part of the coaching relationship, she's come to you for direction, and another she's there for your support and her personal discovery. I call this consultant coaching. So there's a little bit of advice in there that you make clear within the boundaries of your coaching relationship and contract, your marketing, your content, and your consultation. So both of you know what you're getting into, but likely somebody's going to hire you because they want that advice and direction, right? And then you can also be available for that guidance and for their own personal discovery. And they're always the one making the decisions about how they're going to think, what they're going to feel, what they will do, and the results are theirs to take responsibility for, not yours. Okay, I hope that helps you understand that coaching is not just giving advice. It is not teaching. It's not consulting. It's not mentoring. It's not therapy, as we talked about in the last episode, myth number 3. So coaching is holding space, active listening, great questions, encouragement, and empowerment for someone to be on a self-discovery journey and get the transformation they want through taking personal responsibility to create new results that are future-oriented, okay? You can do this. Practice it every time you feel. This is my challenge to you for the week. Every time you're in a conversation and you feel like you should give advice or you should create a solution or you should fix something or do something for somebody, don't bite your tongue. Don't pinch yourself. But create some, non-painful way for you to identify and be aware of yourself, and then decide what you will do instead. The Bible talks about this somewhere, right? Be slow to anger. I think, pretty sure that's be quick to listen and slow to anger and slow to speak. I don't think it's in that order, but that's what's coming to my mind. Be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to be angry. And I know that's in James 1 somewhere, so I'll put it in the show notes once I find that exact scripture reference for you. But I think that is pretty amazing coaching and relationship advice. So let the Bible be the best book on coaching for you. And I'll talk to you in the next episode where we discuss myth number 5. Thanks for listening. For more coaching resources and to learn how to work with me, head to sterlingandstonementoring.com or click the link in the show notes. Remember, walk boldly in your calling, and I'll talk to you next time.